Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the CDL podcast channel. In this episode today, it's our final episode before we dive into predictions and finally get to see some action next week. We're going to be going over some brief news in the CDL, a lot of stuff involving like jerseys and in-game content. Teams are designing their own jerseys. We're going to talk about those, maybe give our thoughts on our favorites and our least favorites of the ones revealed so far. We're going to do a little mini segment talking about what the CDL could do to make us thankful this year because Thanksgiving is coming up tomorrow when we're recording this. And then we're going to wind it down with a little mini draft. Brock and I are each going to draft two teams and like a little snake format, if you guys are familiar with what that is. And it's going to be all-time teams. So we're going to be picking players like Scump, Black Ops 3, or Simp, Black Ops 4. It's going to be picking a player from a specific game. And then we're going to create four teams and have you guys vote in the comments. What is the best team of the four created? Before we get into that, Brock, how you doing today?
Oh, we're doing good on this fine Wednesday evening out here in Wisconsin, will be the last Wednesday, I believe, before we switch to Monday.
Yeah, final Wednesday.
Yep. Feeling good, getting ready to start this podcast. Let's get it.
All right. So if you guys enjoy this one, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube and drop a follow, drop a review on the audio platforms. We've been seeing kind of an uptick in listens on audio platforms. So that's nice to see. You guys are showing some love on there, as well as the YouTube channel continues to kill it on the pods, just consistently higher and higher viewership, which is awesome because we're really not even in CDL season yet. It kicks off next week. So assuming we're going to try to keep going up from there and you guys are going to get more engaged because it's finally time to watch some COD. It feels like it's been forever. And this season, we're starting like over a full month earlier than we normally do. So I can't even imagine if we were starting another month plus later, it would be agony. But I'm excited. This is our final podcast. We might end up cutting it short because there's not a ton of news and we're just going to do that little draft and kind of get out of here. We might cut it short because we've got grind time starting soon. We're going to be doing a lot longer episodes, diving into the matches and predictions and analyzing matches as we get into the year. So might be a little bit shorter today, but who knows? Got a little bit of news to talk about though, Brock. First thing, they announced the venue for the Boston event, which is Major 2. Obviously, the first time we're going to Boston for the CDL. They had the Challengers event, but no actual majors for the CDL. And to my knowledge, really the first like Call of Duty event in like the Boston and Massachusetts, that area really in at least a long time, because I can't remember like an MLG Boston or anything. So the first one in at least a very long time. I'm not sure. There could have been one way back. But the venue looks sick. It reminds me a little bit of that New York event last year, kind of something similar, like a theater almost. It's a music hall.
Yeah, it's gonna get loud in there.
Yeah. And it seems like every time they go to these new cities where like they haven't really been, the fans bring it, kind of like New York. They hadn't really been to New York, as weird as that seems, because it's such a major city. They hadn't really been there in forever, especially like not since early MLG days. I think they had a land there, but the crowd brought it in New York, which is why they went back. And I'm excited. This Boston event looks sick. Definitely one I would like to go to. Probably won't be attending that one, but looks like it'd be a great place to be. It is going to get loud. You're right.
Fans gonna show up to the Boston. Let me tell you that.
Yeah. Hopefully their team has it all together by Major 2, so they have something to cheer for. But I'm excited for that one. It looks really cool. And from everything they said about like the breach in that Challengers event, it seems like they know how to throw an event and they're pretty good at it. So, I mean,
I'll trust Boston org.
Yeah, they seem like they've done everything right, at least since entering CDL. Maybe they're gonna have some Doug fan meetups since he's on the Challenger team.
They might. Maybe Doug will play.
Maybe somebody will be sick. We saw that at the event we went to. Classic had to sub in because Mac was sick.
Yeah. So hopefully, never know. You never know.
Then we got Challengers Cup 2. Had to be rescheduled because the CDL mode earlier this week in game was just completely broken. They had to remove it because like there were lobby crashes and errors. And then partway through the week, pros had to level themselves up to level 52 to be able to use everything they needed in game. And like now, I guess it's back in. But oh my god, it is a mess out there for the pros. Couldn't scrim for days. The cup had to be delayed. Like it is a mess out there.
Yeah. Check out the CDL mode when the Warzone dropped, so everyone had to go play Warzone. It's good, smart thinking on them for that.
Yeah, it's definitely a conspiracy theory, and like it shouldn't be a valid one, but it kind of is a valid one.
Yeah. So yeah, but thank God it's back though for the pros that can scream and all that jazz.
yeah, they got to play in a week, and
I know.
it's already bad enough for them that they have to play in a week and they couldn't use it, but it's even worse for the challengers players that had legit tournaments that like have an impact on the rest of their year
Yeah.
and their potential future livelihood, and they couldn't even practice at all for the tournament they had to play. Like,
Yeah, I think that cup like got rescheduled like on Friday and the turn was on Saturday, so like almost barely got it rescheduled.
yeah, they probably had to like make the biggest fuss ever and had some pros step in or something because
Yeah.
that was ridiculous.
That's just not right if you're not gonna play on a CDL game mode.
Yeah, and they couldn't even like practice correctly. Lobbies are just broken. And why on earth do people have to level up to 52 to be able to use everything in private matches? That's never been a thing.
Yeah.
Everything has always just been unlocked for you in private matches.
hmm
It
I
makes
don't know.
zero sense.
Just make it make sense. It doesn't.
Yeah, we still are waiting on the CDL mosh pit mode.
Yep. Hopefully that comes soon because I really do not want to play the public match games.
Yeah, I mean, we were like a week ago, we were ready to dive into the mosh pit playlist, and here we sit 1 week later with no
I
ETA of when it's
know.
going to come out.
I was so hyped for that, and then just threw a wrench in my heart with that.
Yeah. All right. Next thing we got, Kenny and Octane were inducted into the 100 Thieves Hall of Fame. Something new 100T is doing, not just a Call of Duty thing, obviously, but it has to do with all their esports. It sounds like, I don't exactly know how they're doing it, but they inducted 3 players. They inducted Kenny, Octane, and then Someday from their League of
hmm
Legends team. I don't know exactly how they're doing. I don't know if maybe like they're going to do like yearly inductions of 3 players, or if they're like randomly going to induct people when they see fit. I'm not sure, but I think it's a really cool idea, and I'd love to see more esports orgs do it. Just like, I mean, you see, for us, probably like a main sport we watch would be like the NFL or
hmm
even the NBA. Like you see teams retire jerseys of like all-time great players in their franchise in America. So like, I think it'd be something really cool. Like if somebody like Octane, who has multiple championships, or Kenny, who has multiple MVPs, they both won a world championship, you retire them. Like obviously guys on Optic like Nadeshot, Scump, Big Time
hmm
are all like the OG players would get retired. I think it'd be something kind of cool, org by org, and not even um just Call of Duty related. I think it's cool if like orgs have multiple teams in esports. They just create a Hall of Fame for like the greatest, longest tenured players in their history and just
Yeah.
like throw their jerseys up. I think it's cool.
Yeah, it's definitely cool for Kenny Octane. Been on 100T since before the CDL started.
Yeah.
Then Octane obviously went to Surge for a couple years, came back, won a world chip. Good for them.
Yeah, and it's like as we go forward in esports too, more and more teams are getting like full on facilities and compounds and stuff, and I think that'll probably only increase. So like at wherever their home base is and wherever their compound is, they could just like have just like a little room or like a little area where they hang up all the Hall of Fame jerseys or something. Or like
Yeah.
I think the future might be we see things like Esports Arena, how Optic owns that,
hmm
and I'm pretty sure that's in Dallas. How they own that, like just like it's like a football stadium. You can hang up the jerseys in like the rafters of your retired players, and I think we're probably going to see more and more teams own their own arena to host events as we go
Yep.
into the future, and they can hang jerseys up there of their esports teams, not only just COD but whatever esport. I think it's a cool idea, and I'm surprised it hasn't really been a thing earlier. If it is, I'm not aware of it, but could be a thing in like a different esport, and I just don't know about it. But I think it's a cool idea. I hope every org starts doing it.
Good to recognize those players that won you championships from the past too.
And it
Yeah.
helps you keep track of like just all-time great players. And like if you're a really big fan of 100T COD, I think it might be like another way to just segue yourself into other esports. Like I know
Yeah.
who Someday is mostly because I've watched 100 Thieves content. I'm not a League of Legends player, don't know much about it, but I know who he is and had heard his name and knew that he played League just from their
hmm
content and stuff.
Yep.
So like it could segue you. Like you might be a 100T fan. There's probably way more 100T fans that are Someday fans than there are Octane and Kenny, because League is so big
hmm
that they probably never even heard of Octane and Kenny until they saw him get inducted to the Hall of Fame. Maybe they check him out from that or something. Like
Yeah.
kind of bridge the gap and make you fan of that org's other esports.
More eyes from different esports.
Yeah. Also, speaking of Kenny, he was voted on in the CDL Pros top 10. I wanted to give a shout out to that video because it kind of reinforced you and I. Last week we did our player rankings. We had some people
Yep.
flaming us for our S tier. They didn't release the top 5 yet from what the pros voted on, but I'm trying to remember exactly how it was. It was so the pros basically all voted on their top 10 players in the league, and they released 10 through 6 today. 10 was
I think Kleenex.
yeah, Kleenex. 9 was Arcitys. 8 was Sib. 7 was Kenny, and 6 was Pred. So if you go off our S tier, we had Kenny and S, which they put him at 7, so one spot below our S. And then they had Pred at 6, who we had in S tier. 5 players that weren't named yet: Cellium, Simp, Abezy, Dashy, and Shotzi. I'm assuming that's going to be the top 5, most likely.
Yeah.
And we put Abezy at the top of A and Kenny at like the bottom of S. So basically, our S tier, we agree with the pros, except switch out Kenny and Abezy, which I think we both would say is completely fair. Like, I don't have a problem if you want to put Kenny as the 7th best player and Abezy up there in the top 6. I don't have an issue with that. I think it's fair.
Yeah, I don't have issue as well. It's whoever you prefer.
So it sounds like we were pretty damn accurate and on the same page as the pros for the top 6 players are.
Yeah, I would say so.
I think we got to give ourselves a little pat on the back. And I mean, Abezy is the easy answer. I feel like long term, he's had a lot more successful run in the CDL era than Kenny has. Kenny had a really great last year, but the years before that weren't that great for him. Abezy's been in every champs final.
Yeah, it's hard to argue that.
So I thought that was interesting, though. I'm interested to see the top 5 and what order they put them in. I'm thinking if you were to take a guess, what do you think? I'm assuming those players are the top 5. I'm going to say they put Cellium at 1.
I would agree.
Simp at 2? Maybe Shotzi?
They might do Shotzi.
I could even. I feel like pros have a lesser opinion of Dashy, though. I think he might be a little lower.
Yeah, Dashy might be like 4 or 5, probably 5.
If I had to put my guess on it, I'd say they put Cellium 1, Simp 2, Shotzi 3, Abezy 4, Dashy 5. If I had to take a guess, I don't know though.
Yeah,
because I feel like the pros think less of Dashy than the other players. I'm not saying I think he's 5, but I think the pros probably think a little lower. And also, I know the pros always think super high of Abezy, so I won't be shocked to see him if he's like 3rd or something. I think pros really, really think highly of Abezy.
Who knows? They could throw a big curveball in there. They let the 5 come out.
Yeah, maybe they got one of the other 100 T-boys, Envoy or Octane or something, since they won a world championship. Maybe they got them thrown up there.
Yeah, potentially.
Maybe they're honoring Scump for his last hurrah. They're going to put him 1.
Maybe. They might do that, actually.
Also, God, I'm just accidentally killing it with transitions here. The next thing we had to talk about, Scump, Sweat Bannon 88 no video. I think everybody basically knows what that video is if you're watching this. It hit 10 million views this past week.
Jesus.
That's crazy.
That's so lit. That was like, what, like 8 years ago?
Oh, it's Black Ops 2, so yeah, like, no.
More?
10 years ago. That's 10. It was like 2012.
Oh, yeah. Jesus, time's flying.
That's like crazy to think about, though. I think if you're listening to this podcast and you're a fan of the CDL, you've probably seen that video because it's like maybe one of the most iconic Call of Duty like commentary videos. Like back in the day, everybody used to make like live comms, and that's probably got to be one of the most iconic live comms of all time. Playing on Raid goes 88-0.
I think it was like 66 in the first half, and then everyone left or something like that.
Yeah, like if you haven't seen that video, I don't know how you haven't, but go check that out. Just look up Sweatband and 88. No, it'll pop up. It'll be Scump in a fashion. If you're not like an old follower, if you're more of a new follower, it'll be a Scump you've never seen before. He's a young kid. I mean, you can't even be 18 at the time of that video. During Black Ops 2, like super young Scump and one of the greatest COD pub videos of all time.
Yeah. His live comms were so lit back in the day when I used to watch it.
Everybody, that was the biggest thing back in the day. Everybody would make live comms and cut comms, and now it's not even really a thing, to be honest.
No, not
like,
really.
Nobody makes because, well, first of all, not that many people really make COD pub videos. I mean, I'm sure there's still a couple pub stompers out there and stuff, but like that was a huge thing back in the day. Yeah, K3, Marka J. I think he might be done though. I don't think he does videos anymore. Maybe he does. And I just haven't seen him in a while.
I don't know. I've only ever watched him like way back then.
But COD pub videos, they used to be huge. Go check that out if you haven't. Brock, this next one's for you. This is something you like to do. You're a movement exploit guy. You like slide canceling. You like the finesse everything. There's a new movement dive hop. I don't even know what to call it, exploit, but it looks absurd from the POV of the person doing it. But when you see somebody chow you like that, it looks absurd.
It's like so weird.
They like glide across the map like they're Superman.
Yeah, I think you just dolphin dive onto an object and he's like spam jumping. He's like fly after for some reason.
Have you tried it yet?
I tried a little bit. I think I got the hang of it, but haven't really been playing COD recently. So
I haven't tried it. I might hop on after this to try that out. I need to try that out because
I think
it's gonna get patched pretty quick.
I think it's not as looks pretty hard, but like I don't think it's that hard.
It basically seems like you just have to land on a ledge with your dolphin dive, then as you're landing, like spam A or whatever your jump button is,
Yeah,
just like fly off. And it looks some of those like that. What's the map? Is it,
Albegra.
yeah, Albegra, the fortress. Yeah, that like when they
Where
jump
the
out that one window to the other side, just like
yeah,
launch across. It looks ridiculous.
it's almost like the with Black Ops 3, the what do you call it? The G slide
The
or
G
G hop?
slide.
Yeah, just
Yeah, it
fly
looks
like 20 feet in the air.
it looks like the same thing except instead of like a slide, it's a dive.
Yeah,
Exact same thing, but
I don't know
I'm sure
how.
that'll be patched soon. But although it is Infinity Ward, it might take a few weeks.
Yeah, hopefully the whole year get
Honestly,
some
I
kind of movement.
honestly I kind of hope it stays until at least the first week of matches. I want to see Shotzi hit the dive hop on
Yeah,
somebody.
that'll be funny to watch.
Yeah, that'll be that'll be great. I can't wait for that.
Hmm.
All right, CDL jerseys. I have some opinions on this, and because I've seen people complaining about some of the jerseys, like the Thieves jersey, and I'll agree. I think the Thieves jersey really underwhelmed me because they're an org with a lot of like they're like the org most known of any CDL org for their like clothing and their
Hmm.
style and all the stuff they release. I'm a little disappointed at how uncreative their jersey is, but I'll say I refuse to complain about any of the jerseys because I've been begging to not have these just generic everybody has the same jersey with their logo on it
Yep.
forever. So the fact that teams are making their own custom, if they want to fumble the bag and make a bad jersey, I'm not going to complain because I'm just glad that teams have the freedom to make their own jersey. Now I've wanted it forever. So the pictures
Hmm.
I'm looking at on CDL Intel, we have the Thieves jersey, uh, Rocker, Breach,
Surge.
uh, Gorillas, Surge, Mutineers, Ravens, Ultra. I believe we're just missing Subliners, Optic, and Vegas.
Yeah, from what I see. Yeah.
3, 4. Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
So thoughts on the jerseys? Are you kind of in agreement? I think Thieves are probably the worst one. It's still not like a terrible jersey, just so basic.
Yeah. For the Thieves one, I feel like they should add like the red and black checkered. That'll make it look a lot better than just a black one.
Yeah. And I wonder, I'm assuming Optic's going to be a team with two because they always have the championship whites that they bring out on Sundays.
Yeah.
So Optic will probably have like a black or like a green version for their regular one. And then I have a
Mm.
feeling Optics are going to be kind of underwhelming, if I had to be honest. I feel like they're going to make them pretty basic. Just like they're going to look fine, but they're probably going to be like the classic, just this is the Optic jersey and you know when
Mhm.
you see it.
Yeah.
I would like to see them do like a brick pattern on it though. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that'd be
Like a brick
cool.
wall, like a black with like green bricks on part of it or something. I think that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. I think
But
they should,
what were you
yeah.
gonna
Like they should put like a patch on there for Scump last season.
say? Something like that. I look at these jerseys though. I don't know which ones. Okay, if you had to like pick out a couple favorites, I mean, I feel like you're gonna agree with it, but I think Mutineers have got to be my number one right now. I've
Yeah, Mutineers are dope.
I've
The
always liked their logo. People like hated on their
LED,
logo right away, but I've always liked that Mutineers logo, and I like the creativity. Their logo kind of
yeah,
covers the shirt.
I do like their like pattern stuff.
Yeah,
LED, I like Rockers, pretty cool. I think the bag of it's pretty dope.
yeah.
I kind of like the Toronto Ultra like vibrant cut kind of with the just the
Yeah,
Canada flag on
the
it like
little
a
the
yeah.
little leaf they got and everything, the
Yeah,
maple leaf.
it like kind of like it looks clean.
Yeah, it's nothing like crazy in detail, but it's just like a clean, nice touch to like tribute Canada on there. And
Yeah, but
Ravens isn't bad either. It's like also subtle. It's got like the Ravens logo, but then like the crown because they always say like for the Queen.
mhm,
So like the little crown in there. I think the Ravens one. Honestly, like the other one, I'm a little underwhelmed with. Boston, I feel like it's not a bad jersey, but it's just kind of basic.
yeah,
I do agree though. I like that Gorillas one. They have like that classic like LA font in the back, and Minnesota might be my favorite. I don't know. I think both of us would say though we just really like purple and blue.
Yeah. We
Or
do.
I always like a purple or like a blue jersey, and Rocker
Purple and
combines.
black.
Yeah. And Rocker for me combines that light blue with the purple and almost looks like it has stars on it, like a night sky. I really I think the Rocker are my favorite, but like I said, I'm a little underwhelmed by Thieves in Boston, but I'm not gonna complain.
Yeah.
That they're making their own jerseys. Surge look pretty cool too. I don't know if I'm a fan of the half and half colors on the front.
Surge. It's okay. I don't know if
I'd say that's an average one for me, middle of the pack.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm excited
Overall.
though. I like that they can make their own jerseys. I don't care. They could all come out 12 jerseys that are all terrible and look worse than the ones last year, but as long as they're all custom and I don't have to see them walk out with the exact same jersey on with just a different logo.
Mm-hmm.
I like that they're customizable. It
Yep.
makes it feel like I've never bought a CDL jersey. I have the Optic collectible one from the 10-year anniversary. And then I have when I was at BO4 Champs, I bought a Faze and an EU United jersey and a UIU jersey, and I have them framed up from Champs.
Mm-hmm.
But to actually wear, I've never really bought a jersey besides I bought that Optic 10-year one as a collectible because I thought it looked sick. It was a combination of all the jerseys they've ever had.
Yeah.
But I like the idea that they're going to have a new custom jersey every year. So when you see one you really like, it doesn't feel so boring to just buy it because they're all the same. It actually feels like it has some character. You could buy it and rep it.
Yep. Definitely. Headed in the right direction, I would say.
Yeah, and I'll let them make their own skins in game.
Yeah.
All right. Ready for this question, Brock? I wanted to throw this. Actually, let's talk about this first. Team packs are also coming to the game on the 29th. Those, speaking of just uniform, just the comparison just from in-game to out-of-game, those are just boring also. I'm really can't see myself buying one unless I really want to support a team, but it's all basically the exact same outfit. Guy with some goggles and a helmet and a backpack on, and they're all the exact same skin except the logo and color switch.
Yep.
So kind of boring, honestly, but I guess it is a good way to support your favorite team and rep your favorite team.
Yeah, definitely. Might have to
You
buy one.
have
Might have to buy one to see who's gonna win.
Yeah,
During major.
if you buy it, we're gonna have to make an announcement who you bought because obviously we told it when Kyle was on, but you bought the Ultra skin in Cold War when they kind of sucked, and
Yeah.
then they immediately won a major after you bought it. So if whoever you buy, we're gonna have to make an announcement if people want to start placing bets on that team to win the next major.
Basically changed Toronto Ultra season around after from buying that.
Yeah, so you might have to figure out you might have to wait a little bit to buy a skin until after major one and see a team that's down bad, then buy their skin and see if the curse or I guess the reverse curse continues.
Yeah, might have to actually.
Yeah. Shoot. All right. Next thing, I saw it on CDL until I figured we have to talk about it. I swear the question's impossible, but it was a classic sports debate. You see it with football players or basketball players all the time. It says start, bench, cut. You got to start one, bench one, and cut one. So basically, a guy you're starting, just as it sounds, you're starting him in your CDL lineup. Bench one, you're putting him on the bench, you're keeping him around, and then cut one, you're sending him to free agency. And the players were Shotzzy, Pred, and Simp.
Is it do the accolades count towards each other?
That's my exact
because if it's that I kind of have to drop Pred.
Yeah, that's my exact thing. Are we talking at their peak? Because if we're talking at their peak, honestly, still it's a tough argument because BO4 Simp to me is his peak and incredible. MW Shotzzy incredible, and last year Pred's peak was the best sub in the game. So even at their peak, it's really hard. If you're talking career wise, I feel it can't be career wise because then Pred is the clear cut.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I would say let's say going into this year, if you're starting a team right now, let's say it like that, because and it's only for 1 year. It's only for MW2 because I think it makes it a little easier. I honestly don't think I will say I won't roast you or praise you for an answer because I legitimately don't think there's a right answer here.
Going into, oh my lord.
So just you're building your team for MW2 and it's only for that year. You lose them all at the end of the year, so it doesn't matter. You don't think of Pred's age.
Yeah.
Being the youngest or anything.
Ooh. I
don't think there's a right or wrong answer, to be honest. They're all so good.
All right. I'm gonna start Pred just because of last year and how he's on a high streak.
Okay.
Oh, I'm gonna bench Simp. I don't want to do it, but I have to cut Shotzi.
I've literally gone. I don't hate that. It's pretty close to I think what I'm gonna say. It is different what I'm gonna say though. But
Mm-hmm.
I've gone through it in my head like as I like saw the tweet, and I like come up with a justification to like cut all of them. Like I'm like, Simp, you could cut him because like he wasn't as good as maybe he
Mm-hmm.
normally is last year. So like maybe he's starting to fall off. I don't believe that's true at all. I think Simp's still probably top 3 player, if not number 1 at the end of this year. But I don't know, maybe like that's an issue. Like last year he didn't. It's crazy that the criticism is he didn't win, but like for the first time ever he like didn't win.
Yeah.
Pred, obviously, you could cut him because you could say like, hey, maybe he was a 1-year wonder. That's the argument for him. And Shotzi, I'm going to use the Shotzi argument because I'm also going to cut Shotzi. Optic fans, don't kill us. We had Shotzi's a top 3 player in our tier list last week,
Yep.
but I think like Pred, his peaks, in my opinion, were the highest of these 3 players last year.
Mm-hmm. I would say so too.
So I'm going to bench him and I'm going to start Simp and cut Shotzi. I'd say I'd start Simp because, like, granted, he has had the best teams of these players also. Shotzi's had some pretty darn good teams too, but I don't know. Simp every year, he just always is in every final. And I think there's
Mm-hmm.
a reason for that. So I'm going to start him. Going to bench Pred because I think he has like the highest ceiling as he's like such a young, just impactful player. And I'm going to cut Shotzi. And I guess it's maybe because Shotzi was like, had some moments last year on LAN where I didn't think he was performing up to his standard. But hey,
Mm-hmm.
if you're gonna give me Shotzi to start on a team, I'll take that because he's probably
Yeah.
like the 3rd player in the league, maybe even top 1 at times. Like he's a top 3 player in the league at most times. So if I'm cutting
Yeah.
Shotzi, I got a pretty darn good team.
Yeah.
That's a tough one though.
That's
I
a
hope they
good
keep
problem to
posting more of
have
those.
though. If you have all those 3 players and you gotta cut one.
Yeah, if you're choosing to cut one of these 3 players, your team is insane because let me tell you, any CDL GMs don't take this as advice because if you're cutting any one of those 3 players, you're out of your mind.
Yeah.
All right, Brock. Last thing to talk about before we jump into our little second segments we have. Let's talk a little World Cup.
Oh my god.
Got a lot of English listeners, Alfie out there. A lot of, if you look at like our demographic breakdown, a ton of people from Europe
Really.
watch the podcast. It's actually like a pretty big demographic. Not obviously like you would expect. Probably the biggest demographic is in North America, but ton of viewers from over in Europe on the pod. I'm sure they've been watching the World Cup. So thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
Brock? You're more of a soccer guy than I am. You played soccer your whole life. I enjoy watching
Uh,
soccer, but definitely not to the
all
level that you do.
right. Let me go through this. You know, we kind of need a W against Wales because England's the top
Yeah,
dog, but it doesn't matter. We're beating England 2-1. Mark it here.
gonna upset all
But
these UK listeners. We got
I
Alfie's out there.
know.
I'm gonna add Alfie in the tweet
I
and say we
just
talked World Cup.
like. I really wish we would have won going against Wales. That would relieve so much pressure on our young team. Because basically we're have to go beat Iran for a second place, which is a lot of pressure, and Iran's like I don't think they're that bad what people make it seem to be. So
Yeah, they scored a
definitely,
couple goals on England.
yeah, definitely be a tough one for US if they actually they lose to England and then I don't even want to think about it, man. I just want them to go through.
If they lose by like 1 goal, I think there's still a pretty legit chance they can make it out.
Yeah,
Like
I
they
think
lose by
that
1 goal, Wales gets kind of stomped by England, and then we take out or not. Yeah, Wales gets kind of stomped by England. We lose by like 1 goal
hmm
to England, and then kind of smoke Iran. Then
yeah, I think if even if like people are saying if we tie England, it's a W in our books because
oh yeah, because I mean if they lose to Iran, then that's just we didn't deserve to get
yeah,
out because you had to beat them or Wales, and we didn't beat either. Then if we lose to them,
yeah. I just don't know how I feel about going if we do lose to England, going to play Iran and have to win.
think about
Versus,
this though. Let's say like England goes 3-0. Um, Wales and Iran draw, and Wales and England draw or something. Actually,
hmm
no. What would happen? Wait, what would happen if
I think
Wales had 3 draws, and we also had 3 draws because goal differential would just be the
it
same.
go,
It'd be 0.
uh
What would it come down to?
goals against then.
Oh, I
Yeah,
guess yeah, goals against could be different.
that'd be wild though.
Imagine if that came down to that. Like the second place, because Iran would have 1 loss, so they'd be last. But imagine it came down to us versus uh, Wales, and we both had 3 draws, and it came
Hmm.
down to yeah, goals against would probably be what it is, or goals scored, one of the two.
Yeah,
Because
if the
obviously goal differential wouldn't come into play because they'd both be even.
yeah, if goals are tied, is this then goes to goals against. But yeah,
Ooh.
that's why like if you're gonna lose, you don't want to lose by like just one, not like getting smoked
Yeah,
by
that goal differential is massive.
yeah. So
Hey,
I'm looking forward to Friday, get that big
but
dub.
all I'm gonna say, oh yeah, COD Twitter is gonna be wild too because there's so many EU players that love soccer,
Hmm.
and they're gonna be talking because obviously England is the favorite. But hey, crazier things have happened in this World Cup already.
I
The
know.
Saudis took out Argentina. Japan took out Germany.
Yeah, that's just a wild to think about.
USA beating England is not as big of an upset as those two things were.
It's
Especially the Saudi
uh,
Arabia over Argentina. That's definitely not as big an upset as that.
yeah, definitely have to play probably the
Although
best
Japan's
team
actually like pretty good,
in our
aren't they?
life. Uh, Japan, they're not bad. We played a friendly against them like a month or two ago. We lost 2-0.
Although
So
Germany is supposed to be like,
good. They just
I
came out
remember
flat.
the day, I think it was the same day that Argentina lost to Saudi Arabia. I remember I turned on the Australia France game, and Australia scored a pretty early goal to go up 1-0. And I was like, ooh, it's going to be maybe
Yeah,
another upset. And then France just rattled off 4 straight goals
yeah,
and crushed them 4-1. And I was like, okay, never mind. I got too ahead of myself.
yeah. The Saudis, I think they beat Argentina and then they made it a holiday after the next day
Yeah,
for beating them. That's how, you
it
know.
was like based on like odds, it was like one of the biggest upsets in World Cup history, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. So you never know. You just
Alfie,
never
if you're
know.
listening, our most vocal EU listener, go drop your comments in the World Cup. I'm gonna add him on Twitter after. I'm gonna say Brock talks soccer, and he's saying that England sucks. So I'm gonna see what he has to say about that because he's a huge UK guy, big
Yeah.
England fan.
It's gonna
See what
be
he's
called
got to
soccer after
say.
Friday. Let me tell you that. All right,
I
we
saw that
can go.
video of people raging because we call American football here, and I think that's so funny. I don't really care either way. It
It's
doesn't really matter to me. But some people get really upset that we call our like NFL American football.
mm-hmm. Yeah,
But
that'd be funny.
yeah. All right. Doing a little mini Thanksgiving segment before we do our draft. Like I said, we're about at the half-hour mark. This one will probably wrap up and like around the hour mark, maybe a little shorter than the little over an hour we normally go. But Brock, 2 things you want to see in the CDL this season happen that would make you thankful. A little Thanksgiving
Ooh,
special. I got my 2 things. I can say them quick. They're not long. I didn't want to make this like a super long
sure.
segment. Couple minutes. I want every single team to be legitimately alive for champs come Major 5. We almost saw it this year. Paris was basically dead, but there were like all the way down to 11. Every team had like their path they can make it. I want to see it like that
Hmm.
again, but all 12 and even closer. Like I want every team to be alive for champs come Major 5. So it's just chaos and like teams are fighting for their life to make it to
Yep.
champs. That would make me extremely thankful, and that would be a fun season if we saw that. And then I want to see an all-time competitive champs with the craziest matches. I feel like I got lucky enough at the one champs that I was at in Black Ops 4 to see one of the craziest champs, like with the whole Faze 100T losers round 1. Like maybe the
Backs
greatest
against the
series of
wall.
COD. Yeah, like maybe the greatest series of COD we've ever seen. And then LA Thieves, or not LA Thieves, 100 Thieves making the run all the way from winners round 1. And that was a crazy match where they lost to LG, where Slack hit the Slack slam, got like a 4-piece on
Hmm.
frequency. And Thieves made the run all the way from losers round 1 to finals. Optic was obviously in winners finals, which is a crazy thing to hear how the venue was going nuts for them. So I want an all-time competitive champs where both of us can be in attendance in Scump/champs, assuming he makes it, which I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that Optic will be at champs.
Yeah, hard. I would say that too.
Yeah. So those are my
Um,
two things I want to see.
One for me was I want every match to be super, super close, like how it was last year. The thrilling. You know, what do you call it?
Game 5s all
Thrilling
time.
game fives. sweating it out for W's. That's what I want to see this year. I don't want to see those blowouts within like 45 minutes. Some of those games.
Yeah,
Not,
with the
not fun
nature of
to
this
me.
game, might happen.
Yeah. And for my second one, I said to make a thankful CDL season, I want Scump to go out on top, winning champs.
Yeah, kind of come full circle. The guy that got you into COD wins it at the
Yep.
end.
I'm hoping for that.
Makes sense. I think there's a lot of people hoping for that. I think there's a
He-
lot of Optic fans out there that are loudly hoping for that.
It's not him that always trolls at champs too. The other players need to step up.
Yeah. And he's got the teammates. I mean, he's got some good teammates that should be able to
Yeah.
step up.
When they're clicking, they're basically unbeatable.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that are probably echoing your sentiment as they're listening right now. They also want to see Scump at the top at the end. I think that'd make a lot of people happy.
Yep.
All right. You want to do this draft? I can explain the rules. This is going to be the last thing we're going to do on the day. Like I said, not a ton to talk about. It's going to be full on ahead. And we're going to have so much to talk about for the next few months of this season. We're going to do a draft here. It's all-time draft. We're going to do, we each have two teams independent of each other. So like you can't mix and match your teams after you draft them. They're complete separate teams. Brock's going to get the first pick. Then it's going to be me, then Brock again. And then I get 2 picks. And then it goes back down to Brock's team, just like you would if like you guys are familiar with like fantasy football or basketball or whatever, or baseball.
Yep.
That's how we're going to do that. And it's going to be like players from a game. So like, let's say Brock makes his first pick, Scump from AW, then that would be one of his subs, and we'll tell you, like, we'll go over the teams with each pick, and then same at the end, you guys can vote which one you think is the best. But once a player gets picked, they can't be picked again. So if Brock decides that he wants Scump AW to be his first pick, I can't then say Scump BO2. Then Scump is off the board. And it can be anybody. It doesn't have to be current CDL players. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could pick JCat Black Ops 1 because of how everybody talks about him, or something like that. Like, so there's going to be, 16 total players taken, no repeats, and we're giving Brock the first pick this time. Kyle and I did something similar to this, but we're giving Brock pick 1, and we'll see where he goes with this. You know, Brock has some wild players he loves. He might take some crazy things here. We'll see.
All right. I want to pick AW Scump, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. Since
Okay.
I didn't really watch that game like that, so I don't know. I know he was good, but I don't know how good he was. So I will go with a Black Ops 3 FormaL AR.
Okay, good pick. When you started to say Black Ops, I wanted to go with somebody from a Black Ops game, so I was really scared. So obviously these players are playing like their positions you all know them for, unless like there are certain players, like we talked about this before. He probably gets picked at some point, but Black Ops 4 Dashy would technically be a flex because he used the Maddox all year and Prim used their ICR. So like technically, if you're saying Black Ops 4 Dashy, he'd be a flex. Like FormaL is obviously a main AR on Brock's team, but if like it's a player you hear that maybe played a different position in that game, we'll like specifically specify that out. But you said Black Ops, I was thinking him in my head. I got to go with him because I still swear he's the best player I've ever watched in my life. And that's BO4 Simp.
That is so good.
I think BO4 Simp, when he joined that team on United, was the most insane player I have ever seen. So on my first team, I'm going with BO4 Simp.
That's definitely a good ass pick.
Yeah.
Fine. I'll take sub AW Scump then.
Yeah, he was gonna be my next pick. If you let it go through, I was gonna take him. Yeah, I mean those are. I feel like FormaL BO3 wasn't one that was on my mind, but obviously a valid pick. Even like FormaL IW champs. All those were valid picks, but
those were his 2 best games. So good.
You said AW Scump, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Shoot, that leaves me. I feel like there's like obviously there's only 4 main AR spots and there's 8 sub spots, so I feel like getting the subs is more important. I get 2 picks here though because it's the last pick. Until we go back on our way up. Man, I think I want to go. It might be like. It seems so weird to pick him this early, so I don't know if I want to do it or not. I was gonna say I don't want to like give you the name of the player I was gonna say, but I'm gonna say I just want to. For some reason, I want to make this team down here like a more of an OG team. It might change by the time we get back to this team.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna say I want to want Ghost Crim as my flex.
Okay. Okay.
And oh shoot. Let me get like Black Ops 2 Karma on one of my subs.
Ooh.
Just give me two of the goats. People argue if they're the goat or not. Give me BO2 Karma on a sub.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, Crim played a little AR, played a little sub. Same with Karma. They both played a little AR, a little sub. But I feel like Karma was very good on a sub in Black Ops 2. And I feel like Crim was also very good just with everything all around back at that time. So I'm going to throw him on a flex. I know Crim, more recently, a lot of you guys probably think of him as a main. But at the time, I think Crim could have played anything, basically. So I'm saying Ghost Crim as a flex. It's sub. I'm going to say BO2 Karma as one of my subs on that team. I'm going with like an OG kind of team on that one.
All right. I get the one, right?
Yeah, you get one pick here. This is so Brock's picking for his team that he has AW Scump on.
Ooh, AR. Actually, I don't know. We will go with. I'll put flex. Vanguard Cellium.
Yeah, that's a good pick. I mean, you could maybe say like Cold War Cellium as your other one, maybe Black Ops 4 because of his Maddox, but like can't go wrong.
Yeah.
I guess some people might argue Cellium technically was like a main for a little bit for them, but I think flex is very fair for Cellium. He's a flex.
He won the MVP this year. I'll take him.
Yeah, that's a good pick. So I feel like, and now that I went like OG with my other team, I feel like I want to pick all young players. And I don't know, this might sound wild. I'm not gonna go with him on my last team since I'm going more OG. So I'm gonna say his name finally, so like you can hear it and steal it from me. I was gonna take Vanguard Pred, and I was saying that might be like crazy recency bias because there's some other subs. But I really just want to take for the duo. I want to take BO4 Abezy as well.
That's a good one.
Because BO4 Simp and Abezy is like maybe the best duo I've ever watched with my eyes, along with like Black Ops 3 FormaL and Scump. Yeah, maybe.
That's a
so I'm gonna say BO4 Abezy. I'm gonna say Simp and Abezy from BO4 get back on the same team.
Yeah,
as two subs.
That's a good ass one.
Yeah.
All right.
So this is your team with FormaL from Black Ops 3 as the main, and you get two picks. So you can pick double subs or a flexes sub to go with BO3 or FormaL.
All right. I'm gonna go flex Kenny from Black Ops 3. I mean Black Ops 4.
Okay, I was gonna say Black Ops 3.
Not Black Ops 3.
Yeah. So Maddox Kenny, a very good player.
Yep. And sub, I will do Black Ops 3 Apathy.
Ooh. One of the straightest shots I've ever seen in my life. Black Ops 3 Apathy, I think, had one of the straightest shots I've ever seen in my life. He was extreme. That's a really, I didn't have that one on my radar at all, but I should have because that's a really good pick. It would have fit really good on my OG team. I'm kind of pissed you took it now.
Had to.
God, they're like, I feel like flex is probably the most limited position, and I already took like Crim and Karma, who are two of like the better flexes of all time, in my opinion. So that kind of sucks from that standpoint. Obviously, I need a main AR on this team and a flex. The only main AR gone is FormaL, so I feel like, you know what? I was trying to like outthink this, and I'm like going with a BO4 theme. I don't know if I'll continue it or not with my last pick of this team, but I'm gonna continue it. I'm gonna take BO4 Octane.
No, how my next pick?
He's so good. I think
he's so good.
Maybe one of the best main AR seats we've ever seen. Like in that game, it was all Maddoxes and some SOG players as the best players after the SOG got buffed. And Octane was like the only ICR player that was viewed in the top, and he was like the only ICR player that was viewed as like impacting the game as much as like an MVP could. Like if they would have given out like a full season MVP, he legit might have won it that year as an ICR, and he would have been the only candidate on an ICR probably.
He was dropping numbers.
So I got a full BO4 squad there. I've got, so you're top squad, you got BO3 FormaL on the main, BO4 Kenny on the flex, and BO3 Apathy on the sub. Now, my second team there, I've got BO4 Octane on the main, and then BO4 Simp and Abezy. So I'm going with the Black Ops 4 team. Your next team, you've got Vanguard Cellium on the flex and AW Scump on the sub. Now you need to grab an AR or a sub here.
I will grab a sub. Well, I didn't watch this game a lot, but I'll take MW Shotzi.
Yep. Regular season MVP in that game, so very legit pick. You left the floor open for my OG team. I'm very thankful for it. I wish I could pick like BO2 Scump for this, but obviously Scump is off the board because you took AW Scump. But I think my first pick is clear. Might shock some people. I know this might not be as OG because I'm not picking him from an earlier game, but I swear it was still the best version of Clay. I'm going to take AW Clay. He won World Champ MVP that year. He was the champ or the MVP at Champs. Was completely different. Now I definitely could see an argument for like taking like BO2 Clay or maybe even Ghost Clay, but I swear AW Clay at Champs that year especially was just different. And then when he joined that Faze team, they were the only team that could beat the Optic Dynasty once Karma joined.
Yep.
And Clay was like the only person. So I'm going to say AW Clay to go with Crim and Karma. It sounds so boring, but I want to do it. I kind of just want to pick BO2 Hecz and just make the complexity squad.
Might as well.
Or I mean, this team technically never played together though. Like Clay, Crim, Karma, Hecz, because Karma and Clay were like the ones that got dropped for each other. So technically was never together, but yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say BO2 Hecz. Yeah, I'll go with that. And then that completes it. So it's basically the complexity squad. It's AR, AW, Clayster, Flex, Ghost, Crim, and then BO2, Karma, and Hecz on the subs.
Yep.
All right, you're next.
Is it for my team too, right?
Yeah, this is for you. Just need a main. You got Vanguard, Cellium, AW, Scump, and MW Shots. So you just need a main on.
I'm trying to think. I'll take. Give me Black Ops 3 Slasher.
Black Ops 3 Slasher. I like it.
Yep. The leadership.
Could have won MVP at Champs, but obviously your favorite player did instead.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
That was John. So, okay. So my first team wrapped up with AW Clay, Ghost Crim, and then BO2 Karma, BO2 Hecz. Kind of accidentally, I didn't go in thinking about this, but it became the complexity or like a form of the complexity roster, which I'm very okay with. And then your team, BO3 Slasher, Vanguard Cellium, teammates this year. And then AW Scump and MW Shotzi. Also, if we had to vote between these two teams, I think yours would definitely win because a lot of the viewers are probably newer. So they're like Karma, Crim, Clay, and Hecz. Like, what is that team?
Yeah, the old school team.
But all these players in their prime, this would be a matchup. Those two teams,
it'd be a dogfight.
That would be a dogfight if you can get it, because people don't know how good like Hecz and Karma and Crim and Clay were at their peak. I mean, obviously Crim, Karma, Hecz all retired. Clay maybe on his last year or something, but people don't know how good those four were in their prime. I mean, they all fall in the top 10 all time, and 3 of them probably fall in the top 5.
Yeah. That's a lot of chips and tournament wins right down there.
Yeah. All right. So my last spot, I got BO4 Octane on the main area. This is the BO4 team. I feel like I should pick a Maddox player. Should I just do it? And there's no flex on the board. Should I just take BO4 Dashy to just complete the BO4 team?
Yep, do it.
Kind of went with themes. I wanted to take a lot more like older players to put people on. So, like the older players, but I think I'm just going to go with BO4 Dashy. I know, obviously, a lot of you are probably saying that Dashy should be listed as a main, but in that game, he used a Maddox, which was the flex weapon, so it kind of has to be listed like that.
Yeah, he's insane with that thing.
Yeah, and I would say, obviously, in every other game, he's been a main, and he is a true main, but in this game specifically, he used a Maddox, so we're considering him a flex, and I went with theme teams, and I didn't want to at all. with the OG team and then the Black Ops 4 team, but it just kind of happened that Abezy was out there, and I think BO4 Abezy is probably his best form. So that team ends up being BO4 Octane, BO4 Dashy, BO4 Simp, and BO4 Abezy. I would take if those 4 teamed up in Black Ops 4, it would have been a scary sight.
That's probably a championship.
Unless I'm like forgetting somebody off the top of my head, that might be the 4 best BO4 players. I would say Octane was the best ICR.
Yeah.
Dashy was probably the best Maddox, or right up there.
Yeah.
And I think Simp and Abezy are probably the best Sogs.
Those two went crazy in that game.
Yeah, so I like that. I think that's my favorite team of the teams I have, the 2 teams I have.
All right.
Last one.
I get a sub to pick from of all of the pool.
And you got, well, you think I'll tell the people what you got so far. You got BO3 FormaL on the main, BO4 Kenny on the flex, and then Black Ops 3 Apathy on the other sub. Hey, just take Black Ops 3 John. Go with the duo.
No, I will not be. I'll go with the other duo of Apathy. AW Censor.
When you said the other duo to Apathy, I was like, who is Apathy the duo besides John? I was like, oh my god, you're gonna say Censor, aren't you?
Censor, baby. OBJ Slayer. He's doing it all for the team. That's what they need. OBJ kind of guy.
You know, people like, I think it's a pretty wild pick considering you're only able to pick 16 players all time and you went with Doug for one of them. It is wild, but like, if you were going to pick Doug from one game, it probably would have to be like Black Ops 1 or AW. Maybe Ghost. He was, yeah, actually, I mean, this era of Doug, like Ghost and AW Doug was actually a pretty good player.
Mm-hmm.
I know he is kind of a meme now, but he was a pretty darn good player in Ghost and AW.
Yeah. He won like a couple in AW, right?
Yeah, he won. He only won the one. He won the first event, the Columbus one, where Hecz had the cut up thumb.
Okay.
And they beat Optic in the finals. Yeah. 2 best of 5s or 2 best of 7s, one of the 2.
Mm-hmm.
And Censor made the play in Search and Destroy.
Oh, gotta love it. Just fitting for FormaL and Censor on the same team again, just like in the MW where he dropped 7.
Yeah, they also they did team together in Ghost AW. They teamed together in one of them.
Did they?
Yeah, they actually did team together for like a couple events. I think they placed pretty well. Did they win an event together? They might have won an event together in Ghost. I can't remember.
I don't really know. I don't really watch Ghost.
They definitely teamed together, though. I know that for a fact.
But that's definitely what that team needed. A good OBJ kind of guy. Do it all for you. Get in the hill.
Censor... hang on. This is like hurting my brain now. I need to look up Advanced Warfare champs placements. Yeah. You want to go through the teams while I look at this? Who is, of the 4 teams, which one you like the most? Which one are you voting for?
Of the 4 teams, if I had to choose, oh my god, I'd probably have to go with the Black Ops 4 squad. Dude, that shit, they're so crazy.
Yeah, and that's a game. I feel like there's a little bit of a buy. No, Doug didn't finish really high. I was thinking of Faze Red, Hecz Slasher, Parasite, and Enable. That finished 3rd in AW champs. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is tough. It's tough to like go against the BO4 squad, especially because I would say like personally, you and I might have some bias because like that's one of our favorite games of all time to watch.
Yeah.
So I feel like you and I kind of have some bias towards Black Ops 4. So of my 2 teams, your favorite is the BO4 one?
Yeah.
I'd say I like your second team. I guess so for the people that are just like listening and can't see, Brock's first team, he has BO3 FormaL on the main, BO4 Kenny on the flex, and then BO3 Apathy and AW Censor on the subs. And then his second team is BO3 Slasher on the main, Vanguard Cellium on the flex, AW Scump, and MW Shotzi on the subs. And then for my 2 teams, I've got an all Black Ops 4 squad, all 4 of these guys from Black Ops 4, Octane on the main, Dashy on the flex, and Simp and Abezy on the subs. And then I've got the OG team, AW Clay on the main, Ghost Crim on the flex, and then Black Ops 2, Karma, and Hecz on the subs. So I don't know. I think my favorite team is the BO4 team just because I have so much bias towards how much I loved watching that game and I was able to go to champs and everything that year. Like, It's got a special place in my heart. So that might be my favorite team too. But of your 2 teams, I feel like I really like that team too. I think BO3 Slasher is one of the best mains that doesn't get talked about enough because he didn't end up winning champs MVP. I think if he wins Champs MVP, it's a whole different story, and he very well could have. Vanguard Cellium, I mean, regular season MVP in the game, best player in that game, hard to argue against him. AW Scump, also probably the best player in that game, hard to argue against him. And then MW Shotzi, MVP. So like 4 guys that legit could have been the best player in the game at times in those games. So it's pretty hard to argue against that team. I think I like that one, but your team 1, people are going to roast it because you kind of went for the meme with Sensor. But
had to do, my boy. Had to get
it's
him in
actually
there.
like not a bad team though. Like FormaL and Black Ops 3 is going to be an overly aggressive main AR compared to most and going to get a lot of kills. BO4 Kenny on that flex is going to get a lot of kills. Apathy is an absolute killer on the sub. He's going to get a lot of kills. And AW Doug was like consistently around a 0.95 to a 1. Like he's going to get kills, but he's also going to do all the dirty work for this team and just let Apathy, Kenny, and FormaL shine. Like that team is better than a lot of people are going to give it credit for.
Yeah.
That team is still smoking most teams. If all those players, Kenny, FormaL, Apathy, Sensor, all in their prime, is smoking a lot of teams.
Yeah. So Sensor, the Mr. Dirty Work kind of guy.
Clean up the dirty work.
Yep.
So I listed. Go back in time a little bit on the pod if you want to hear those teams again. Comment down below your thoughts. Put together your dream team. You guys don't have a cap on it. You could take BO4 Simp, AW Scump, and you could take all these players. You don't have anybody taken from you. List down in the comments if you had to list a team of 4 players from any game. Throw them down there. We want to see them. Let's see something we didn't do. No EU players, Jeff. Let's see like an EU team from somebody in the comments.
That is true.
Kind of just like forget about it. But you can make a legit EU team. You could do like I don't know, in his prime, like a Tommy on the main AR. Maybe a 0 on the main AR. You could throw like a Cammy on the flex, maybe a Bance and a I don't know. There's a bunch of guys out there like Jerd in his prime, Mad Cat, Swanee. There's a lot of guys out there from EU. A lot of the current players as well.
Joe.
Yeah, Joe. Dirty Work. He was like the European Doug.
Yeah.
A lot of guys out there. Even like Josh in his prime, Rated was a very good player. Scraps and Wuskin. There's a lot of EU guys.
Right.
If any EU listeners are out there, make an EU team.
Yeah.
Something I'd like to see. But we're just at about the hour mark. We want to wrap this one up, cut it a little short, and then be ready to go for a longer one with predictions next week.
Yep.
All right. So that's going to do it for this one. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. We're getting closer and closer to the 800 mark, which is our next goal. And if you're on the audio platforms, drop a follow, drop a 5-star review on there. That's going to do it for this one. We're going to come back with a little bit of a shorter turnaround. I'm going to chop this one up and get it uploaded here shortly. So it'll be Wednesday night when this one gets uploaded. And then the next one, we're going to have a short turnaround. Going to be Monday night. Going to be just doing basically full-on predictions. Maybe talk about like if there is some major news, but it's going to be like a whole episode dedicated to predictions for week 1. So I'm looking forward to that. I know Brock's looking forward to that.
Yep.
Short turnaround, but I hope you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving. If you're here in America, we got football to watch all weekend, which is good for Brock and I. We're big football fans. So
we got both football.
We're going to enjoy that. Hopefully you watch the USA beat England and then...
Yep. It's called soccer after Friday.
Yeah. Yep. And then we're going to come back Monday, drop our predictions for the first matches. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one on Monday.